Hey, what's up? It's Matt the Master, and I'm here with my man Joey.
What's up, guys?
He's been on my videos before, believe it or not, in the Rocket Power video, dude. Remember when we were recording that multiplayer?
That was me
Yeah,
playing.
he was in, and he was in the freestyle that we did like in February, dude,
Yeah, I went hard on that.
or March.
Or somewhat. Yeah, that was a good time, man. That was right before all this shit happened. COVID. Insane, man.
Well,
But hey, I'm back here chilling with you, bro.
Yep.
It's nice to be here, man.
We're in my car right now, and we decided to make a video about our Nintendo 64 games that we would have liked to have seen, like games that we would have liked to have seen on the 64. We're gonna start by saying games that we can give logical explanations as to why they could have been on the 64. We take an existing franchise and we kind of pitch an idea.
Right.
And then after, we're going to give our honorable mentions, games that we would have liked to have seen, but we're living in Clue land if we think they would have been on 64, because there's no way. There's zero chance they would have been on that console.
Right.
Or just ports. Maybe again those on the Saturn.
Right. Okay. So let's go ahead and start this.
You want me to start?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I wanna do my three main ideas in chronological order. Number one, you remember when we went to the arcade and we played The Simpsons?
Yeah, The Simpsons arcade. That shit was crazy and fun. Yeah.
Dude.
We beat the whole game together. We beat the whole game, and we just used all our tokens.
Yep.
And we did it, man. Good times. Yeah, that was a great game. That would have been good on the N64, man. Because, 4 players.
As a launch title.
As a launch, even better.
As a launch title.
That would have given people more reasons to buy, more controllers with the system. You know what I'm saying?
96.
God, 96. When did that game originally come out? Like, in the 80s?
Who knows, dude? That was...
Yeah, that's a old one. But yeah, even if it was just the actual game, not even not them giving the game an update or anything, still just having that game would have been really fun to have. Kind of like an arcade,
Yep.
You could have called it Simpsons Arcade 64, or Simpsons Arcade 64, really. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I think that the game may have had to I think possibly people would have probably complained though, because people during the 64 days, they really only wanted to see 3D, man. They didn't want to see Yoshi's Story or
That's true.
Mischief Makers. What's that shit called?
Mischief Makers.
Mischief?
Yeah, that one. But yeah, honestly, at the time, I think it would have been well received. But I think looking back on it now, people are, appreciate those kind of games more, because we're out of that mindset now. Everybody likes a good balance of 2D games and 3D games. So I think it would be more appreciated after its life cycle.
Do you have any ideas?
Yeah, I got some.
And by the way, that game definitely would have been 4 players, bro.
That's exactly what I'm saying, man.
Dude.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's the perfect 4-player game, and the N64 is the multiplayer machine, you know what I'm saying? Has all the multiplayer games. All the great ones, man. Sony really couldn't compete with them in terms of 4-player multiplayer.
I'm gonna crop out where you said in terms of 4-player. No, I'm just playing.
So, I think a game I would have loved to see on the N64 is just any kind of Final Fantasy RPG. Because really, we all know the history about Final Fantasy VII and not being able to fit on the N64 cartridge, so Square went to PlayStation. But despite that, still, just even any Final Fantasy type game could have been on the N64, and I think it would have been fun. Maybe a spin-off of any sort, or hey, even even just, again, when I think of these things, I think of porting existing games to the N64. Maybe giving them a slight graphical enhancement, but still just having those games. And
Great.
yeah, Definitely, like maybe Final Fantasy 3 on Super Nintendo could have been on the N64. Maybe they could have given it an update
Oh yeah, remake.
or something, just something to cater to the N64 crowd. But unfortunately, that never happened. Man, it wouldn't it be crazy if Crash and Spyro were on the N64. The N64 really did well in platforming games, multiplayer games. Those two mainly. So, Crash and Spyro would have been a perfect fit on those consoles. Now, yeah, imagine having those 6 games. I don't know if you want to include Crash Team Racing on that, but again, that still would have been good because that's another. It's a kart racer, so like perfect for people who are fans of Mario Kart. But yeah, those games would have been great. It would have definitely probably made the N64 sell a lot more. Those games would have been definitely cool to see.
I got one for you, bro. Moving up in 3 years after '96, 3 years after the Simpsons arcade game. And by the way, none of these games that I'm gonna mention would have had the 64 sell more, bro. Like these games would have probably flopped, to be honest.
Yeah,
Or maybe did okay, but they wouldn't be system sellers.
I got you.
Fire Emblem 64.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
1999 released. And not Japan only. I'm talking about here, where it really would have suffered in sales, because
I don't know if they would have ever done that, man.
no, never.
Nobody knew what the Fire Emblem was here in the United States. But still, it would have been really cool to have, just having another Fire Emblem. Imagine Pikmin on the N64. Imagine how that would have been. They would have been able to have, the game would have been able to have processed so many of the little Pikmin. So it would have been interesting how they would have tried to do that concept. Oh man.
Well, I'm gonna get to that in a brief moment, but what did I talk about? Oh yeah, Fire Emblem. You know how their Fire Emblem Path of Radiance came out in 05 for the GameCube,
Right.
and it follows the story of Ike, and it has his dad in it.
Mm-hmm.
But on the Wii version that came out 3 years later, the sequel, his dad's not in it. I'm not gonna say why, but I'll say maybe a prequel saying his dad's story, and also Ike is just a kid. All he does is give dialogue. He doesn't fight.
Right.
Because there's this chick called Tatiana, who's in the GameCube version, who's with you right at the start. And right at the beginning, she's already an entire class over you, over everybody that's obtainable at the beginning of the game.
Right.
So I think give us a backstory on that shit.
That's what come out with.
And with Pikmin, dude, the 64 wasn't ready for that, dude.
I understand.
Nah, the
I'm just
Pikmin
saying.
were too small, bro.
Yeah, and there's so many of them, so the N64 wouldn't be able to process it.
My last proposal. This game came out the year that the GameCube came out, so Nintendo wasn't really putting out their heavy hitters this year, except for, Paper Mario, but
That was more of a smaller kind of game.
I'm talking about the blockbusters,
I understand.
Metroid 64.
I mean, you're saying, Metroid 64 for sure.
It would have been a farewell, Paper Mario, we got that in 2001. But we got that was already in Japan in 2000, bro. The fuck? So, a true farewell, and it would have been a clone of Mega Man 64.
Mega Man 64 was just Mega Man Legends,
Yep.
and they just called it Mega Man 64.
That game came out in 2000. So, the clone comes out after, because they see that game and they copy it.
So that game came out in 2001?
Oh, no, Mega Man 64 came out in 2000. Mega Man Legends, I think, came out in 97.
Oh my god.
So,
wow.
yeah, theoretically, this Metroid
They had to wait
game...
3 years.
This Metroid game can come out much earlier, but Metroid 64 is okay, they see it on the 64, they want to do another one.
And how would the game be? Would it be 3D?
Of course. It would be just like Mega Man 64, but here's the part, multiplayer.
And
What?
how would they do the multiplayer?
dude, motherfucking
Like free for like kind of like James Bond games.
yeah, like Metroid Prime 2 multiplayer and James Bond. And you're doing that kind of shit, bro. You know, Nintendo, dude, would have made that work. So maybe it wouldn't be a flop. Maybe this one wouldn't have flopped.
Yeah, you know, again, multiplayer games were
Yup.
what the N64 really.
And
catered to.
and if this game, if the fans wouldn't have thought too highly of this game, Metroid Prime 1 and 2 come out in the next 5 years. You know, so
Yeah.
then you have that, and you're happy again if you didn't like the 64 version.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say, bro.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say, man. Just wishful thinking. I mean, still, even despite that, N64 still had a ton of great games, ton of great experiences, so many good memories, and I think it's perfect in my eyes.
All right, that's that. We're gonna wrap it up now. You know, me and my man Joey. I'm gonna put his YouTube in the description, so go check him out.
Thanks, guys. I haven't made much videos lately, but I'm gonna start getting on that. So, you know, make sure we'll make a little community here. You know, I'm very good friends with Miguel, so I look forward to being on his videos more and him being in my videos as well.
That's right. We'll see y'all later, and peace.
Later, guys.
We're out.
Later.